All right, now I'm gonna talk some bullshit. Nah, I'm just kidding. It is Friday, October 10th, 2025, and here we are on Lake Lida in west central Minnesota. There's a lot of bullshit in the world, but there's a lot of beauty in the world too. The sunshine is a beautiful thing. Listening to the sounds of birds is a beautiful thing. You know, we still ought to connect to nature in this day and this age. It's okay to use the internet and these technological devices, our smartphones and our computers and our televisions and so on and so forth, but we still ought to connect to nature. We still ought to get sunshine. We still gotta run around barefoot. We still ought to just take some time to be in nature. You know, nature gives life. I like to think that we're presented with a couple of different realms. The digit the digital realm and the natural realm, or the organic and the inorganic. You know, the inorganic doesn't have life of its own. The inorganic realm siphons energy from outside of itself. The natural world, the natural realm, gives life. It does not depend upon external factors. This is very important because right now you are listening and watching me talk about this stuff through the digital realm. And what's happening right now is that as you're watching and listening to me, your power is being outsourced, right? Because you don't have to exercise your imagination when you can simply watch what I am doing. You don't have to exercise your imagination in the same way as if you and I were together right now in this moment face to face. It's a different interaction when we interact with the non organic realm versus when we interact with the natural realm. When we interact face to face between the natural realm and the natural realm, it's a very coherent process. When we interact with the inorganic realm, there's potential for it to be incoherent. So maybe the best way to exemplify and portray what I'm getting across here is that take this simple exercise. For one day, live your life without a cell phone. Then, for the next day, live your life with a cell phone. On the third day, take notes and observations and reflect upon your experience with the one day living life without a cell phone and the next day living life with one. I think the easiest way to explain and portray and convey this information is to simply allow the individual to experience this for themselves, because you know, all of us, we could sit here all day long talking about this and talking about that, but until we experience these things for ourselves, we will not truly know. And that is the nature of technology. If we live our lives in the technological world on the internet, living our lives through these digital screens, how can we ever truly know anything until we experience what we're interacting with on the internet for ourselves in reality, in true reality? We must find ourselves in the natural world each and every day and ground ourselves in the natural world. If we're spending more time in the digital world than we are in the natural world, eventually we might find ourselves losing ourselves and forgetting who we are due to the nature of technology and how it siphons energy outside of itself rather than producing life from within itself. And if we give our energy over to these technological devices, we are giving our power away. Whereas when we interact with the natural world, we are inherently working alongside and in harmony with the outside world. All of this seems so simple to me at this point in time, but it was not always this way. I grew up in the internet world. I grew up in internet land for a long time. I was very lost. I did not know it, you know, and it's only until we step outside of our normal routines in which we can then cultivate the contrast to be able to see more clearly the life we lead. Well, this is why it's important to connect with our local community and see people face to face to collectively make decisions within our community rather than outsourcing our power by voting for quote unquote presidents of a quote unquote country who actually are not in a position of power to do anything at all, because in this country, in America, the United States is a corporation and it's just a business. Thus, we need to return to our local governments. Ultimately, we need to return to ourselves to govern ourselves. And that's just first and foremost. We need to return from artificial food to natural organic food, food that was grown by people around us, people who we know, people who we can see. We need to return to information relayed to us by true sources. I think it's important that we just ground ourselves in nature each and every day, and that we ground ourselves in our own truth. I love you all. Peace.